In this story, a dominant introduces his submissive to Petplay by setting out a kitten outfit and instructing her to change and meet him in the kitchen. When she arrives, she notices 2 food bowls waiting for her on the floor. Petplay within BDSM is a form of role play that involves adopting the persona of an animal, such as a kitten, bunny, pup, or pony. In part 1 of this series, we covered the basics of everyday pet play, including the personal motivations for pet play, the primary types of pet play, and how your power exchange dynamic can benefit. Last week, we covered the most common types of kinky pet personalities and the major differences that age and breed can make in the demeanor of a human pet. So if you missed either of those videos, I highly recommend you check them out in the description below before you jump into today's content, because in this video, we're going to tackle an often highly complicated aspect of pet play, the human element, and how that impacts the switch point for play. As we established last week, the world of pet play is a world of imagination. As such, you can be fixed into one type of pet personality, play as a dual pet hybrid, or even as a human pet hybrid, which is what today is all about. Remember, this is not about mental illness, illusion, or denying obvious biology. This is about playing pretend. Therefore, the key is to let these general personality guidelines inspire more exploration of the many beautiful facets of your unique design. As part of that, kinky pets don't have to settle into a fully animalistic headspace where they consciously turn off their ability to communicate in human ways or even understand their native language. That is absolutely an option for you, whether in the confines of a designated scene or as part of your loving DS dynamic on a 24/7 basis. But if that concept seems foreign to you or like too much of a stretch for you to adopt that headspace, you may enjoy exploring pet play as a human-pet hybrid instead. And this is exactly what it seems. You take on the persona and expression of a pet-like human instead of a human role-playing as a pet. All right, now I know that may seem like an incredibly subtle difference, but the manifestations of such delineation are quite stark. Let's use an example from one of the pet play stories included in my new Everyday Pet Play bundle, Dinner Plans. In this story, a dominant introduces his submissive to Petplay by setting out a kitten outfit and instructing her to change and meet him in the kitchen. When she arrives, she notices 2 food bowls waiting for her on the floor. In this story, the dominant desires his submissive to role play as a kitten.
"You need to eat while I finish my dinner," he says as he directs me to the 2 bowls on the floor. "You want me to eat out of those?" He ignores me completely. "Sir?" He continues his meal without flinching. I clear my throat and slightly increase my volume. "Sir?" Nothing. I try a different approach and nuzzle his leg with my head again. This time he acknowledges me by reaching down, tapping the food bowl, and pursing his lips to make a kissing sound. "Right here, kitten." My stomach drops as I look at the bowls, filled not with his filet mignon and gourmet sides, but with chicken and rice and a dish of milk. I hesitantly crawl in front of it, fighting to lower my head and relying on all my willpower to dip my mouth into the dish and take a bite. He strokes my bare back as I hesitantly continue. "Good kitten." I'm thankful he can't see the intense flush of red on my cheeks when I direct my attention to the bowl of milk. My tongue dives into the liquid, and I feel his warm touch move across my...
And if you want all the juicy details I can't say on YouTube, go over to patreon.com/LXerotica and download my amazing new Everyday Pet Play bundle to start reading now. You'll not only get instant access to all 3 erotic pet play stories, but you get my visual pup positions guide, my list of 30 pet play treats and meals, my 2-page list of pet play gear and pony tack, my pet play personality guide with 16 of the most common personas to help you discover your own, and my new Tasty Treats game, which will help you discover your pet's favorite treats using some fun food play. I've also included my pet feeding guidelines, which will help you, tops, dominants, owners, etc., log your pet's favorite treats, high value rewards, as well as any dietary restrictions and allergies. Again, just go over to patreon.com/LXerotica to get instant access. In this version of my story, Dinner Plans, the submissive was required to ignore her humanity and fully assume the role of a kitten. We saw this through her inner dialogue, as well as her attempts to continue speaking and engaging in human terms, which the dominant ignored. But in the case of a human-pet hybrid, the submissive would have likely been able to continue engaging in some human terms.
You need to eat while I finish my dinner, he says as he directs me to the 2 bowls on the floor. You want me to eat out of those? He chuckles as he continues his meal. Yes, kitten. That's where you belong tonight. I nuzzle his leg with my head again in an act of affectionate confirmation. There we go, sweet kitten, he praises as he strokes my head. I momentarily lose myself beneath his reassuring touch, but he regains my attention by tapping the food bowl and pursing his lips to make a kissing sound. Right here, kitten. My stomach drops as I look at the bowls, filled not with his filet mignon and gourmet sides, but with chicken and rice and a dish of milk. Where's my steak? I pout. He smiles teasingly. Good kittens eat whatever their owner puts out for them. Isn't that right? He strokes my bare back as I hesitantly continue, my cheeks flushing when I direct my attention to the bowl of milk. My tongue dives into the liquid, and I feel his warm touch move across my...
In this version of the story, the submissive combined elements of her humanity and the kitten persona desired by the dominant to form a new hybrid pet personality. And what were the main differences that we saw here? 1, the submissive could gently ease into a new persona versus being required to immediately shift into an animalistic headspace. 2, the submissive could continue communicating in human terms versus being required to only use animalistic sounds and body language. 3, the submissive could comprehend human instructions for easier training versus being required to learn a set of commands in a foreign language or manner. And 4, the dominant could be more relaxed with how they address and engage with the submissive versus having to be highly mindful of bridging a forced communication gap. This is why knowing what kind of pet you want to be or what kind of pet you're with is key to effective and fulfilling pet play, because the route you must take in training and domination is very different. Additionally, the mental, emotional, physical, and aesthetic transition for the submissive, often referred to as the switch point, will look different as well depending on the type of pet play that's happening. And that is exactly what we're discussing next week. So be sure you're subscribed and have those notifications turned on so you won't miss any part of this series, and I'll see you next week.